so it's only but so much you can do online. There's only but so much you can do in phone conversation. A platform like this, man, we get to educate people and talk with them about the power of who we are as creatives and as Black. We get to educate people and talk. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna have to get together, man. I'm trying to get down, over to Atlanta, put it that way.
Yeah.
Just to get a hold of you, man. And it's like, um, it's been interesting, man. It's just the whole the journey, just the whole. I mean, stuff has been going on, family, work, and such.
Yeah.
So I work security a lot, man. So that's
I
what
know.
that's what I be doing.
Yeah. And it can be. I would think. I would think that with that type of work, that line of work, man, it's not just about being ready for the job, man. It's about being ready for people,
Period.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because they keep me busy, no question about it. Hey, Kareem, you there?
I am here.
All right, my brother. Well, I think what we're gonna do is get started and everything. So
yeah,
I'm looking forward to. Yeah, I'm ready.
I'm excited about this. So thanks for joining us tonight. Today is March 8th. We are blessed today because we got a great actor that we are really excited about his work. Troy Skinner is joining myself and Seba Tillman. Thank you for stopping in on the show, man. I'm telling you, man, like I'm so impressed with the work that you're doing, man.
Kareem, I can't see you, brother.
Am I not on cam? Okay, I'm gonna have to figure this out with my cam because I'm on cam for the audience. I don't know if I'll be able to have my cam in both, but you guys can hear me clearly, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So we got introduced to your work, and obviously it's just a great character. So, but your path, like all the things that you do, acting, directing, writing, that's a lot of stuff. Can you tell me how you personally got started down this route?
Well, when I first moved to Los Angeles, I had a music career. I moved to Los Angeles to do music back in the 90s. And the artist that I was working for went bankrupt. I'm not going to mention the artist's name because I don't think it matters, but Cat went bankrupt. And so I had to find other means of getting into things to, stay alive and to live the dream. So I had been studying martial arts since I was 15 years old. And I figured, well, hell, why don't I do stunts? Mm-hmm. And so I linked up with Art Camacho. Camacho, they teach a lot of stunt classes in Los Angeles. And Art Camacho told me, man, you talented, Cat. You got all the moves. You're really good at what you do, but can't act. You suck. Okay, well, hey, man, I'm a martial artist, man. Tell me which direction I need to go, and I'm going to make it happen because, that's the discipline that we're supposed to have. And so he said, do a college course or, go to an acting school or something like that. And I did. I went to an acting school. I got really good, really fast. You know what I mean? That's the benefit of being a martial artist and being focused and disciplined. And as a man of color, as a Black man, as a melanated man,
yeah,
use that word. You have to work triple hard.
Yeah,
in a sense.
Yeah.
So I was always taught that even coming from the projects, man, because I'm a project kid. I have no shame in saying that. I grew up right down the street from Mike Tyson, man.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Brooklyn, man. Brooklyn, you got to work extra hard, man, and you got to put your mind to it. You got to do it.
Right.
You hungry.
Right.
And so I got into stunts, and I did the acting thing, and the stunts kind of segued into me doing the acting thing, and so I really enjoyed that because I was just like, man, I didn't know that I had a desire for that.
Right.
And I got really, really good, really fast, and I started booking roles. I mean, back in those days, man, late 90s, early 2000s, there was nothing but gang member roles and thug roles, and it was easy for me because, like I said, I grew up in the projects, man. I just played my brother and a lot of the dudes that I knew around the street. And so I worked a lot, very, very fast, very easy. I was easy to get along with, but there was a big writer strike that happened.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, the writer strike happened. The first people that's not going to work were color.
Right.
Right. Like, already at that time that, Asians and Native Americans weren't getting no work.
Right. Mm-hmm.
It was like they were hiring people who weren't that to play those roles.
Oh yeah, always.
They always need us.
Yeah.
And that's what we have to always remind ourselves of.
Yeah.
And so there was no work. The strike was really bad. It lasted longer than what people thought it was going to be. A lot of people lost their livelihood. A lot of people quit the game. Black people, we were the last ones to work. And so I said, you know what? I've always been that type of person where I'm like, I'm not waiting on nobody.
Right.
I got to put the work forth. I'm creative. I know I can get something done. So I started writing. And for writing, I started producing, because when you would write something, you take it to somebody, they'd be like, man, this is really good, but we're not looking to do this right now.
Right.
Wait a minute, a black lead? You know, because I write with that mind of like, hey, man, anything's possible. Like, you know, and so with all the meetings being turned down and stuff, I was like, man, you know, writing these amazing scripts. I said, man, let me learn this production process. Like, what is producing? And so I started realizing that at that time, there wasn't like hardly any black producers. I mean, the black producers that were producing white content, or they were producing projects with top-notch directors like, you know, Spike Lee and people of that caliber. And so I was like, man, you know, like what is this thing? What does it take to be able to get a message out? Because I have a very strong message in my work. When I work on content, there's always, I think I teach people a lot in this game. And I said, listen, if you notice that everybody that's in the entertainment industry, they all got agendas. Right. They all have agendas. Women work together to push each other, then they'll break off, and it'll be black women working to push their message. The LGBTQ, they got their message. They work together to push their message. Everyone has a different agenda. And I said, you know, man, I got to figure out what it is that I'm going to do that's going to set me apart from everybody else. And I've always felt like the black men in the black community are not as empowered as we should be. Right. So I said, all right, well, I'm writing these scripts. I'm learning how to produce. Still not getting no traction. The writer's strike was over. Everybody was back to work faster and harder than they were in the past. And I said, man, you know, like, how am I going to get this done? Well, Canon camera came out, the 5D Mark III. And people started doing it on the Mark II, but the Mark III opened up the door. So I had won Octavia Spencer's Facebook challenge where I got a free camera and I got $1,000. I had shot some on an iPhone, and I said, let me post this, and it won. And I was like, wow. Right, yeah. I was like, wow, okay. So I had got the Canon 60D, but then I graduated from that to the 5D Mark III. And you know, I met some people who were doing films on that camera, and I'm like, you know, hey, let me go learn about this. See, that's the gift we have as melanated men, man. We can go put our mind to something. We ain't got to go and spend $60,000 to go to school, or $200,000 to go to school. We can put our mind to it, and we can learn it and be resourceful enough to make it better. Yeah. Because I'm always like, I'm going to top what I've been taught. You know, I'm not just going to settle for what I know. I'm going to top what I've been taught. Yeah. So I said, man, all these Marvel and DC projects out. I'm probably never going to get the opportunity. And mind you, I'm a pretty well-noted actor. Like, people, they say, man, you're amazing. And I'm like, yeah, you know, but amazing get you no work. Right. So I said, let me figure this out. So I said, I did a couple of shorts. They were award-winning shorts, and everybody's like, oh man, you have a promising future. But Hollywood wasn't knocking on my door. You know, because I wasn't willing to play the game they want me to play. I'm not gonna demean or diminish a melanated man's you know, integrity. Right. You understand what I'm saying? Like if it's not building my community and it's not building black men, I don't want to do it. I don't have nothing to do with it. Yeah. Right. And so I said, well, I want to get on the superhero craze. I want to get on this thing, because a lot of cats were making these little superhero fan films and stuff, and they would end up taking these films and as like calling cards and going and getting big budgets and stuff like that. So I was like, well, maybe that's what I need to do. I mean, I've done all the dramatic work. I did a full-length feature film for Lionsgate. Still not getting no heat, not getting no love. So maybe I need to jump on this DC Marvel thing and figure it out. So I got with my boy James M. Black, who he's my mentee. He's a fellow warrior, one of my martial arts students in the sword. This brother is phenomenal. Okay. Right? Young cat. And I said, man, listen, we had just did this other feature film that I'm still working on getting out. And I said, why don't we work on something? Let's do a superhero. And he's like, all right, well, let me know what the superhero is. And I commissioned him. I said, you're gonna write it, right? Because I do that. I'm like, you're gonna write it. I don't want to write. I'm tired of writing. And so it took me a couple of days, and I said, well, what superhero hasn't been done yet? And I was thinking really hard, and I went and did some research. I said, man, they hadn't done Black Lightning yet.
Yeah.
Nobody knew about him. Nobody had mentioned him. When they did the Superhero Friends DC television show on ABC, they renamed him Black Vulcan.
Right.
Because they didn't have the rights to Black Lightning. So they renamed him Black Vulcan. And he didn't do a resurgence on the scene until you had the Justice League cartoon in the mid-2000s, the early mid-2000s.
Yeah.
I said, how come nobody really knows about this character? I was an avid comic book collector, so I remembered them. But I did my work on it. I said, yeah, I'm going to do this. And so I hit up James. I said, James, we're going to do Black Lightning. And he was like, Black Lightning? Interesting. So he went and researched it. And I said, yeah, and I want you to play Static.
Yeah.
And he was like, what? And so at that time, I was an acting coach. I had one of the most prominent acting studios in Hollywood. I was working with the likes of Amari Hardwick, people like that, of that stature, names that I can't mention. But a lot of students was coming to my class, and I was always big on helping my students out. Like, yo, we're going to do this. If you're interested, just get the wardrobe. You don't have to pay no money. I got the camera, I got the equipment. We're going to shoot this. And so all of my students we all got together. James finished the script. I went and did a polish on it. And we said, we're going to shoot this. We had no money. We had no money, right? But all the money that I was making from the acting studio, I was pouring back into anything that I worked on content. And so I told all my students that, I said, I got a role for you, but the one thing that you have to do is have your outfit. You got to get your costume. You got to show up.
Yeah.
So they all did that. Like we got some behind the scenes of footage that we did where we were basically doing outfit, wardrobe checks and stuff like that. And like I said, James finished the script. I polished it. We knew we were going to shoot it, and we didn't have a roadmap. We were just like, all right, well, if we just shoot one scene, right? We just shoot one scene, everything else will happen.
Right.
Because we weren't going to do a GoFundMe or nothing like that. We were like, nah, man, it's too much work. We don't have the resources or the time or the energy to do it. So it was all out of pocket. It was all personally funded.
Yeah. That's amazing.
What'd you say?
I said that's amazing.
Yeah, when we look back, I mean, all these years later, we look back, man, and I watch it and I go, man, this is still like I still every now and then, YouTube, you get hit with those comments, and people go, this was better than the TV show, and it's funny when we started shooting, we were doing it, we were almost 2 years ahead of the TV series, really, like we were already in production. Working on it before the TV series was announced. Yeah, okay. People were like, they stole your idea. And I'm like, no, I don't own the rights. I don't own the rights to Black Lightning. That's DC property. That's Warner Brothers. Right. I don't own, which in the end, I realized that that's not a smart thing to do, because if you don't own IP, you can't collect any money. Right. Yeah. And so that hurt us. Like, I mean, if you look at the artwork behind me, that artwork is amazing. James did that. James in Black, he did that. Shout out to him again. Shout out to Joan Moulton. She helped with the costume. James started in his mom, Joan Moulton. She finished it. She's also in the film. And so we were shooting, when we could. It was over a period of time. The thing that took the longest was the VFX. It took almost 2 years for us to do the VFX. It was just 3 of us. Whereas normally you have a team of 300 people doing the VFX that we did in this short. Because still, when you go and you watch it, it still stands the test of time. It does. Yeah. I'm like, when I watch it, I'm like, wow. Yeah. Like, I was depressed. Like, I believe we did this. Every now and then I'll call up James. I'm like, James, I can't believe we did this. If I get a compliment on a poster or the artwork, and I'm like, man, James, man, somebody just hit me up and they want to buy a copy of the poster. Yeah. it was one of those things. So when word got out that we were doing it, and then the CW announced Black Lightning is going to be a series, I was like, oh man, we were halfway through. So we were like, well, let's put it as a two-parter so that when we get it out, before the CW does it, and people can't say that we biting off the show, right? Because our character of Black Lightning is based on a comic book,
right?
Not on what the CW did, because the CW did is something totally people don't realize in the DC universe, okay, Black Lightning is one of the most powerful characters.
Yeah.
Hands down.
Yeah.
And a lot of the things that they didn't cover was that, you know, he was a Olympic he's an Olympic recipient, gymnast as well. He was trained by Batman in order to be the leader of the Outsiders. So what you see, and I'm hoping I'm using the right word, is a watered down low grade of what this melanated man, this character. Yeah, they got he's a teacher and a father,
right?
But even in, you know, when you watch the show and you see how his daughters were and how everybody treated him, and how I was like, nah, there's no power in who he is as a character. So that was important to me, and that's why I picked him.
Yeah,
because you know myself, and so I said I want to play something that's dynamic. And throughout the whole process of making this, man, I kept telling my actors, some of them who've gone on to do amazing, like they're on 2 or 3 TV series, 2 films at a time. They're living the best life as an actor. I said, you will never work on characters like these again, because the DC and the MCU properties are guarded. They're gatekept, you know, like because when people saw this, they were like, hey man, so do you think the DCU is going to come to you and get you to direct the feature? And I was like, my phone ain't ringing. People were stunned.
Yeah.
And I said, yeah, you know, I'm not going to water down. I mean, if you look at Black Panther, right? And I know you guys know about this. You look at the character from Civil War and from what was the film that Civil War. You look at Civil War when they introduced him, right? In Civil War. When they introduced, was it Civil War?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Civil War. Yeah,
it was Civil War, right? How strong he was compared to when he got his own movie, and they watered him down. Like he was watered down, you know, to where everybody's kind of looking at Killmonger like,
right? You're right. You're right.
Yeah, you know, like I want that Killmonger.
Yeah, seriously.
And when you look at the differences in acting capability, you know, Chadwick had a little bit something more than Michael, but Michael was able to go more because of what his character stood for.
Yeah, exactly.
As the movement of a people, like, you know, he stood for something. Whereas, you know, Chadwick's character, like the Black Panther, he wasn't sure, and he's, you know, arguing with his dad and, you know, his mom and the Dora Milaje and his sister, and everybody got to be the one to save his life and to help him. And it was just like, what's going on here? You know, what's going on?
Yeah.
You know, it's the strength of this character that when you read the comic of Black Panther, you know, who is one of the most scientifically strong characters in the MCU.
True.
Okay? In the comics, you know, he's you know, when you look at now and you watch Wakanda Forever, that should have been, that fight should have been T'Challa. It should have been
Absolutely.
That's how it was supposed to be.
Well, I just want to just interject just to say you're 100% right. I have some comic books written by Ta-Nehisi Coates. He laid the Panther down, man, and when he wrote his stuff. I mean, excellent work. So I'm just saying I agree with
you.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, the strength is gone. And the same thing happened with the Black Lightning TV series. I mean, on the way, like this logo right here, this logo right here, this was actually used by the CW. This exact logo. Wow. And everybody, they use the logo. The artwork was very similar during the second season. They came out with artwork looking just like ours. And we couldn't say anything. That was the hard because it was just like, we don't own the IP.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
if you want to do like a fan film or something like that, be very careful. I would say create your own character. And I think that's what we need to do as melanated people, because, you know, we got this whole thing where they're turning every character that's white into a black character.
And that's whack.
Right? You know how many black characters, man, they could go through the Aesop fable stories.
Oh, yeah.
Right. You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying? They
yeah.
could go through the Egyptian stories, the Nubian stories.
Yeah. The name is Hero, right? Literally, right? Comes from him, right?
There you go.
Yeah,
Herubi.
yeah,
Right.
that's right.
Absolutely.
So how
Right,
is that
but-
not? That's the archetype of him, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
You know, and so, you know, people are quick to be like, oh, well, all these superheroes or Greek and Roman. No, they're not.
Mhm. Yeah,
No, they're not.
yeah,
No, they're not. Stop.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Stop.
Yeah.
When you go and you look through the comic and you see the characters, you see what they're based on. It's like, man, come on, man.
yeah.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
Well, okay, so I was, you know, obviously I got to check everybody's powers. I got to go to the comic books and see what the actual powers are, right? And Black Lightning is powerful, man. He draws on the Earth's electromagnetic field, right? This brother
Yeah,
can shoot
yeah.
out lightning bolts and arcs and fly.
Yeah.
I mean, like on that scale, he's up there, man. He's high
Yeah.
up there.
He is, man. He gave Superman a run for his money.
There you go.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
people don't see it.
Yeah.
You know, but you know, the funny thing is you play the video game, you see it. Because the
Okay.
video computer game,
Yeah.
it showed it.
Yeah.
It showed how powerful he was, man. And then also, I hated the way they did the storyline on the TV series, because they changed Suicide Slums, which was to me, a very important aspect of understanding that, you know, people don't realize a lot of Black people still live in very low grade areas.
Yeah.
man.
Yeah. They exist.
That they're actually taking, and they're starting to you know, take over those areas and kick those people out.
hmm
They really got nowhere to go. You
Yeah.
know?
Gentrification. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. In
Yeah.
the comic, people don't notice, but in the comic, Superman could not go into Suicide Slums.
Okay, that was the thing. The comic. This is Metropolis that this is going down in, right?
Yep.
They don't
Yep.
never show this part of Metropolis before.
Nope.
Okay, why is it they don't show this part of Metropolis, man?
Yeah, yeah. And Black Lightning would give Superman crap because he would get sick. Can you imagine? Look at the dichotomy in the analogy. He would get sick going in that area. He couldn't be in that area. Something was making him sick.
What? What? Are you serious?
I kid you not. So Black Lightning would call him on that and be like, "You racist." He called Superman racist. He said, "You racist. You won't come to save us." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's why you see in my short the dialogue when my character's talking. You know, spoiler alert. But when Batman comes at the end, that's why you see in my short where Black Lightning didn't want to leave Suicide Slums. He's like,
Yeah.
I can't. You know,
Yeah.
I got to here for my people. And that's why I love the writing back then. Even the writing that they when they did the DC 52, the DC 52, the New Earth 52, they talked about a lot of that when they rebooted, because they rebooted it.
Right.
And in that reboot, and if you see it, they also did it in the Justice League, where they had kind of Black Lightning become a mentor to Static.
Yeah.
It started-
Yeah.
and they just brought it over into the Justice League. So it's sad what they did with that show, man. That show, man, I've to this day, I have people say, man, they, you know, and I had a director, I'm putting him on blast, I ain't gonna say his name, but he hit me up and said, hey man, stop posting the comparison of your stuff to the show. People would send stuff to empower us, you know, and inspire us and be like, yo, keep going, you know. And so we would do the side by side and stuff, and this dude hit me up and was like, you know, play the game, they may let you direct an episode. I'm like, if they wanted me to direct an episode, they would have been called out.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
direct an episode.
Absolutely.
Because people were putting up different iterations of Black Lightning, right? They put up video game version of Black Lightning, comic book version of Black Lightning, the cartoon, and then they would put my character up.
Yeah.
Fan film.
Yeah.
And they would say the different iterations of Black Lightning. That to me was the greatest compliment.
I mean, okay, I've seen a lot of fan films, and I like fan films. There's never been a fan film that I thought was better than something that was in mainstream until I watched this. Seriously, that you know, because I was just thinking about. Remember, me and you, Tennis, we had talked about that Moon Knight fan film. It was
man.
you know, it was entertaining just because it was Moon Knight, but it wasn't really that good. You guys did a great job, like the effects, everything, and I'm high on that scale, man. Right? I love watching movies. I love action movies, so my meter's high, and I'm like, they killed it. I wanted to talk a little bit about the actual fighting scenes in the movie because that really was what brought it all together. So tell me a little bit about like your style and like the other actors. How'd you guys get that look going?
Man, yes, that's a great question. Well, like I said, you know, I had all that stunt experience, and I knew I was going to do the choreography. And there's funny stories with that. If you get a chance, there's a commentary version of the film that we put up on YouTube, where we literally, James and I sit and talk for about the duration of the film, and we talk about what we did to put it all together. We didn't have a lot of time. You know, a lot of the actors, some of them were just doing it as a favor. Some of them were bringing their part-time working because there was no pay, obviously.
Yeah.
We was out of love and out of the promise of what it could be. When it came to the fight scenes, I went from just what I learned from Art Camacho in regards to, because it couldn't be so heavy in the martial arts. It had to be based on each character.
Right.
Because we were using the comic book characters. We were staying true to it. And that's the number one compliment that I got from a lot of the people who watched it. They were like, thank you for staying true to the comic. So there was a thing of like, we didn't have a lot of time. We did do choreography. And we did rehearse. And it was funny because I was like, I know just from being a stunt coordinator and a fight coordinator, how easy it is when you say, okay, you want to incorporate people's opinions, man, it gets disastrous.
Yeah.
You know, you can't start talking about someone, I'm going to do this somersault. And they don't think about that. We're in the park rehearsing this. You got to do that same somersault on concrete.
Yeah.
For the so we all came together. Shout out to Sachiko Ashida. She's one of my actor students, but she does stunts. And Keisha Tucker, who is one of the big stunt players in both Black Panther and Wakanda Forever.
Okay.
Keisha Tucker, one of the Dora Milaje. She did the scene where in the first Black Panther with the spear in the car. That was her going down.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I got the chance to put her in the short before anybody used her, and so I could claim that.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
She came through. Jonesy Agende, he plays Regulator opposite Sachiko. You know, he's got the double knives and stuff. One of my close friends. He's also an actor of mine. Pretty much 99.8% of the actors in the short are actors that studied with me. But when it came to the choreography, I just gave them all stuff that I knew they could handle. Now, when it came to me, because I was doing cinematography, I was directing, I was acting, and also producing, running around, making stuff work out. I mean, I had guys that helped, but and James was definitely tremendous help, and you know, Fernando Smith, and you know, all the different people who jumped in and helped. But fight choreography for me was almost impossible. I had to do it in that motorcycle suit.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. You know, you don't have a budget. That it is a literal motorcycle suit. It is made to prevent you from injury. So it's very restrictive. I was in pain for 2 weeks after that fight scene, that little fight scene that I had. I was in pain. I mean, tremendous pain, because it was like just, I couldn't do anything. I could barely spin. I could barely do kicks. And there was so much that I wanted to do with rehearsal. We couldn't really do a lot of rehearsal in the suit.
Right.
So fight choreography was fun. And I look back now when I look at the fight scenes, I said, man, I should have did more pullbacks, right? But when you're in that moment and you're handling all those things and you're pressed for time, I mean, the fight scene between Static, Holocaust, and Gangbuster, that 3 fight scene.
Yeah. It was a great fight scene.
Bro, that was shot in 1 hour.
Wow. Wow. Y'all got down.
Hey, listen, let me tell you something. If James is watching this right now, he could pay testament to this.
No.
The look on his face, because James is out there right now. He's one of the top used fight people in the game right now. Like people like him because he's got them long dreads.
Mm-hmm.
He's very into it. Like he'll give you 120%, right? When I was shooting it, like I'm like, okay, do this. He had this long look on his face, man. He was like, there's no way that this is gonna look good. He thought it was gonna be disaster.
Yeah.
What he didn't understand, because he was still learning at that time, was as a stuntman, you can have an idea of the routine, but you got to know the angle.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You have to know, and a lot of guys are guilty of this when they're on set. They watch the fight scene, they don't watch the monitor.
Mm-hmm.
So behind the camera, I know what I'm capturing, and I know how I'm gonna put it together.
Yeah.
That eye. Yeah.
And so that's how I was able to do it in an hour. Like him, Austin Uku, and Jay Hunter, who's out there working tremendously now.
Oh.
They were like, "You got everything?" I was like, "Yeah, I got it. Let's move it on." They were like, James had this thing where if he could stop me and shake me, he would.
Yeah.
He was just like, "No way, you got enough to make this thing look like something."
Yeah.
And when I edited it together, that was the actual first fight scene I edited together.
That's amazing.
Yeah, they were like stuck. James was just like, "Man, I didn't know that this is what this was."
Yeah.
Well, insight, man, insight and vision.
Yeah. Okay. So stories always come down to like the villains. Like the villains define your hero. So you guys got this villain, and his name is Whale, right?
Tobias Whale.
Tobias Whale, right? And this is just an evil dude, man. And so this seems like this is him coming back to get revenge at the hero and bringing the hero back, man. Tell me about the story, because your man wrote the script to this, and it hit all the marks, man. It hit all the classic marks of like how you set up a hero, the conflict. Tell me about how you guys developed that script.
Yeah, George Lucas says it best, man. The hero's journey, and when we were writing the script, there were key things I wanted to hit on.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I write in the voice of the melanated man.
Yeah.
I mean, redemption. It's all for me. Everything I could write the craziest story, but as long as it has redemptive themes, it pays off.
Yeah.
Because like James Cameron, everything he writes about is love.
Mm-hmm.
Love on a boat,
Mm-hmm.
love on the sea, love on an island, love on another planet, love. You know what I'm saying? Love in a old folks' home.
Yeah.
Everything's love. Everything he writes, love between a robot and a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Love between a mother, a surrogate mother, and a kid. You know? And so for me, it's always about the redemptive thing. So when we were writing it, I was like, okay, for the comic book fans, we'll stay true to the story.
Yeah.
The name, locations, the power skill sets for all the characters. We brought in milestone characters.
Yeah.
Because there have been crossovers. Like there's a crossover comic book where Static is actually a comic. It's a graphic novel of Static and Black Lightning partnering up to beat Holocaust. That's
Okay.
story.
Yeah.
And so we just pulled that in, and the I wanted to focus on the divorce aspect of Black Lightning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What I saw them do with the show, I knew where they were going to go with that. They were going to make them more important than him. He took a back seat in his own show.
Yeah.
So it was important for them to see that. It was important for them to see that that it was in Metropolis. There's a line you see in The Office where he says Superman ain't coming to save you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He's off the planet. That was important. Those key things. We had to make sure that people understood that there was nobody else coming to help.
Yeah.
Because once Black Lightning gets in trouble, we see that it's the local people that help each other, which is of us as a community. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So James wanted to also show a lot of Static and how we tied in.
Oh yeah.
Okay, Static be here.
Yeah.
Why Static? In Suicide Slum.
Yeah.
Bang Kid. He's one of the Bang Babies. Why would he be here? And we talk about that. The school got shut down, so we shipped everybody, so we did a lot of that. We made it very comic connected, Easter eggs and stuff like that. That was important. But the main story was to show a slice of life in a melanated man as a superhero.
Yeah, protecting his area. Now I wanted to say,
because it all took place today.
I mean, okay, so the acting was really good. You brought up an important scene when he tells him that Superman's not coming. And let me tell you, the look on the mayor's face sold it.
Okay. Yeah, that was Chase Baker, man. Chase Baker is one of my actors, a good close friend. Chase Baker, he understood that character.
Mm-hmm.
He understood, and he also helped us on the VFX. And he's like a utility knife, man. That cat, man, he can do anything. He's a Swiss Army knife. And I tell him that. Let me tell you something. I get impressed with my actors when I know they're doing amazing work. Yeah. And I said, Chase, let me tell you something. I said, you played that better than most people would have played it in a major feature film.
Yeah.
Because they would go over the top. And talking about Tobias Well, that was Dimitri Morantis. He was also one of the co-producers of the film. And one of the things that I told him was, I said, once the Black Lightning TV show came out, they played him as an albino. Mm-hmm. What people don't know is that in the comic book, how Tobias Well got to be who he was through a botched seance.
Okay.
He got caught in the crossfire of a demonic seance. And why his voice sounded like that. That's why he looked like that.
Yeah.
Mm.
It wasn't because he was just an albino.
Yeah.
They just modified it. To me, those scary characters are the ones that are capable of doing things that a normal person can't do. Mm-hmm. And if you know, with the TV show, they never explained how this brother got his powers, how he was who he was.
Yeah.
They explained it. They just had him degrading black people, talking.
Wow, it's amazing.
About black people, you black people. What is this about?
Yeah.
I guess for me, I guess it's kind of, I want to say interesting to say, but the black lady character to me is very masculine. Mm-hmm. I love that character. And to me, it almost reminds me a little bit of a Darth Vader type of situation.
Yes.
Not in a bad way, but in a masculine way when he comes with that presence.
Yes.
And I mean, you did an excellent job with that, man. That was just awesome.
Yeah. Thank you. So it was one of the things when you're working with actors is a lot of times, man, you got to give them room to play. Dimitri was very big on asking a lot of questions. Once people, I've learned this, like some actors work from the inside out and some from the outside in.
Yeah.
Once he saw himself in that outfit, man, and because he was going back and forth about the contacts. First, he didn't want to wear them. And I'm like, look, man, we already got all this VFX we got to do. I am not going to go through every frame of those eyes and make them red. Get them contacts. So he got the contacts and he figured out the voice. And most of it was his voice. Mm-hmm. And how we knew this brother nailed it was when we did that scene on the television where he goes in and he kidnaps everybody, holds them, and how he played it. We knew then. We was like, this brother, man. He went somewhere with it, man. He went somewhere with it. And to this day, I still tell him, man, you're one of the greatest unsung DC villains.
Yeah, he did. It was. So, okay, let me ask you, when you embrace, Black Lightning, you guys are getting to the script. Was there a moment where you personally started to identify with the character?
Once I got the suit on.
Yeah.
James, I give that to James and Black because what happened was I ordered a suit from this guy who was a suit maker. He was a cosplayer, and I commissioned him. We designed it. He designed it. We talked about it and everything. I was like, this is great. And it took him a while, but he was working on it, sending me different photos and different things. And I'm like, great. Got it. After about almost spending $1,000. Okay. Got it. Put it on. I was almost in tears, man. I was like, there's no way this is going to survive a fight scene.
Yeah.
It would have disintegrated.
Yeah.
So we couldn't use it.
Yeah.
And so we were at the late hour, man, and James was like, man, just go online, just order a motorcycle helmet. I'm sorry, a motorcycle uniform, which we did, and then went to a arts and crafts store and we got some material. And James was like, I'm gonna glue this on, right? And we kept the belt from what the guy originally did.
Okay.
Once I put the boots and the gloves on and those glasses, I was like, oh yeah, I'm Black Lightning. You know, and because we did a lot of these wardrobe checks.
Yeah.
Only issue was like I said, it was very restricted. So the arm, under the arm started tearing and the whole back part started tearing. And then the material that James had Gorilla Glue on started coming off. And made it through one fight scene. And when I edited around the rip and the tear.
Yeah.
And because he kept through the whole fight scene, gluing it on, gluing it back on. Joan Moten, James's mom, one of the loves of my life, man, went and got the jacket. She said, can I get that jacket? And I was like, what you gonna do with it? And she was like, I said, we gotta shoot with it. She's like, just let me borrow it until the next time we shoot. Took the jacket and got it professionally, all that stuff sewed on. And that was it.
Okay.
It got it fixed and under the arms. And that was it. It was no going back. So all the fight scenes, everything, that suit was ready, man. But yeah, I thank God for James in Black because there's no way we would have been able to use that first suit. That suit is in storage, man. The one that the guy did. And it looks good as a cop.
Well, I was going to ask if it looked good, right?
Yeah. But you know what? Listen, man, you know, motorcycle suits are the beginning of all superhero costumes.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, go back to Blade. That's pretty much what Wesley Snipes was wearing.
Right.
Outfit that was modified. You know what I mean? So we just took it back to the basics. You know, we don't have the money to get 5 uniforms. You watch these documentaries and they're talking about, well, with the Superman suit, we did this and, you know. And the downside for me is I didn't get the opportunity to get in the gym and do what I would like to do. I mean, you look at, you know, all these guys nowadays, man, they you know, the budgets. Look at Jonathan Majors, look at Michael Jordan. They look phenomenal. Man.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, these guys are doing 2-a-days. They got a nutritionist. They got personal trainers, Corey Galley, you know, Calais doing that, you know. I didn't have that opportunity, but you know, it's a motorcycle suit. So all I had to do was stand a certain way.
Right. Yeah.
And talk a certain way. And, you know, and I knew not to overdo it, not to make it, you know, cheesy, but to also, like I said, man, you know, make Black men be seen a certain way. That's important.
Yeah. So ultimately, I mean, this is a story about a hero, and me and TNS have talked a lot about representing Black heroes. I mean, we talked about Hawk, right, who we've come back to a couple of times, and his reputation. We're talking about Bass Reeves, who, you know, was Spawn the Lone Ranger. How do you see, is that kind of how you see Black Lightning? Is that kind of a hero character, like moral conscious type of character?
Yes and no, because I think we shoot ourselves in the foot where we don't take into account the reality of that. You know, there's no way you can. I mean, I the number one thing I get a lot of problems with is people go, Black Lightning doesn't kill. He wouldn't kill because he stabbed the dude with the machete, right?
Yeah.
Shocks him. So it's kind of like going back to people who survive in lightsaber stabs nowadays. Like,
oh yeah, it's nothing. I got shot with a blaster on my way over here.
Yeah, good. I'm good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's always the chicks in the lightsaber fights, you know, or you know, they don't get completely cut off. They don't lose no limbs anymore.
Yeah.
But they cut other people's limbs off, right?
Yeah.
So I always tell them, I'm like, who said that he killed him?
Right.
You don't see the guy dead.
Yeah.
You just assume that he's dead. So we have to be, it's kind of like people always say Batman don't kill, but if you look at the 1987 Batman, 1989 Batman, right? And he's blowing stuff up, like, oh, those people didn't die?
Oh yeah, man. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so I think we shoot ourselves in the foot, and I think we came full circle with that when in the Man of Steel, when Superman broke Zod's neck. You know, everybody's like, that's wrong, and that is like with all this destruction and damage, Superman inadvertently killed.
Yeah.
If he up a building by punching Zod. You know, just because he didn't go and strangle somebody, he did kill.
Yeah,
like,
he did kill him. Yeah.
You know, I mean,
they kicked the Hulk off the planet for that.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
just saying, those people died in that movie when you know the second movie of the Avengers.
Yeah, yeah.
When the Hulk blew up the building,
right?
People died.
People die. Yeah, they forget about that. Yeah, yeah.
You know, so I think we shoot ourselves in the foot when we say, "Oh, this." You know, I'm working on a character now. I can't talk too much about it, but he kills.
Yeah.
And he doesn't think twice about it.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, your life is on the line. You know, I think that's why people love that. You know, that new TV series, God, it's on Amazon. The
Boys.
The what?
What is The Boys?
No, not The Boys. The Boys is out of control. I like it, but they're out of control.
Yeah.
The other, the animated one where the dude's father.
Oh yeah, Omni-Man.
Omni-Man.
Yeah. I forgot the name of the show, but I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
People killing that, man.
Yeah.
I mean, we shoot ourselves in the foot if we think that these superhuman beings, you know, it's something that I always tell my students. I say, listen, you got to start to believe that the impossible is possible, right?
Mm-hmm.
You go into any country and there's a city or a town where they have a statue of a warrior that survived countless of wars.
Yeah.
Or countless of battles. And they fought for freedom. And you know, wherever you go, you know, it doesn't matter what part of the world you go. In some town, there's this statue where people go, he fought off this many people. And, you know, I think a lot of times we get ourselves shot in the foot when we start to think, well, that's not possible. Because that's what makes that person a superhero, right? What makes that person special. The fact that they did something that we can't do. Anybody can kill.
Yeah.
So why would you negate that from a superhero who has to go against unsurmountable odds?
Right.
I mean, they're not fighting. Like you talk about the battlefield and the cats that came home from a battle.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
You don't think they killed? Like they had to do something. They didn't just have right?
Yeah.
They killed.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let me ask you, because like Batman didn't kill, but he also couldn't get a prosecution, right? Like you couldn't go to court. Batman couldn't testify. You had a mask on, right? So what was Batman really doing out there?
Oh, Batman was doing Batman. You know, Batman, the whole intimidation factor of a man and a cow. And, you know, he's a bat. Because, you know, we even go back to the mythological aspect.
Right.
Right.
Most definitely.
You already know in Kemet and in ancient culture, and the bat is always known as a fierce creature, a fearsome creature. So when you look at that, he's out there. Is he really not killing? I mean, just because we don't hear a report of it doesn't mean it didn't happen.
Yeah.
That's just the truth of it. I mean, what was Batman versus Superman really all about?
Yeah, it's about him killing Superman.
You know, Superman, you know, like, you know, the signal's out, don't come. You know, it's like, what are you talking about, man?
Right.
Yeah. You know, when you look at DC and you look at the storyline, like they're now going into these outrageous storylines with the Joker and different, because they're bored. They you know, the storylines that affect people the most is when Batman, who had the worst experience with the Joker and things that were horrible, he killed Robin. Just destroyed the Bat family in so many different ways, right? But finally, the person that kills the Joker is Superman.
Yeah.
You know, rips his heart out. Like, okay, that's done.
It's done.
That's done.
Yeah.
And you think about the countless of people who died because Batman wasn't brave enough to do what should have been done.
Yeah. Do you think Batman needed the Joker?
I don't think he needed him. I just think sometimes people get comfortable with people, just kind of like bad relationships.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If I leave you, what am I going to do?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I got the Riddler, you know, I got Two-Face, but they're not you.
Yeah.
So the Joker is willing to push Batman to a point that nobody else will.
Yeah.
Because he's so insane that's what makes him brave. The fact that, Heath Ledger, like, okay, everybody always talk about the different iterations of the Joker.
Uh-huh.
The reason why Heath Ledger's was so powerful was because he showed the total depravity of Joker.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Not just the intellect, because the Joker's very smart, right? We know that. But he's depraved in that intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? Like he enjoys, he revels in it. That type of character, you got to get rid of him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he will eventually get out. He get out of Arkham Asylum.
Always. Yeah, the worst security down there.
I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Then he goes and 5,000 people die, and then they put him back in, and they start the process all over again.
Yeah.
To me, I think Batman is a tragic character, actually.
Yeah.
Because the thing that he's fighting for, he's got a set of rules that holds him back.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of messed up.
Yeah. His son kind of gets
So when
at
it
him
came
too.
to Black Lightning, when that one thing happened where he stabs him with the machete, I didn't think twice about it.
Yeah, I noticed it, but it was a good scene. Like, it was a real, like, I like he was hitting him with the blast, and then took the machete, and then dropped the machete and walked off. It was a cold scene.
Yeah. I mean, we got to have those moments. I
Yeah.
mean, you know what happens to him next. You know what I'm saying? His powers are depleted because of, the one character that comes and Regulator. Basically, a lot of people that knew Milestone was like, oh man, you got Regulator, you got, all these different characters. Regulator was the one that made it to where nobody can use their power.
Yeah.
It was in the writing.
Yeah.
Because we was like, listen, if we stay with the character of Black Lightning the way he is in the comic books, you can't really mess with him.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they didn't even show, because he can fly. Like, he can fly. Like, not just levitate, like how they were showing in the TV series. He can fly. And not only that, he can go through conduits. They didn't show that on TV.
Right.
He's powerful.
Yeah.
He's very powerful.
I mean, Lightning, you are at the apex. I mean, you talked about the tie into mythology, and me and Tina's had lots of conversations. You associate Lightning with the tippy top of power, right?
Yes. That's it. Every powerful god, doesn't matter what culture they come from, every powerful god can shoot lightning.
Mm-hmm.
One of the most terrorizing forms of power on the planet.
Yes.
The most, cats are scared of fire, right? Fire, get burned alive. But
the lightning,
well, I mean, that a fan has said on one of the Facebook pages, they said, why is it always all the black characters, got lightning? And it's because we're an electric people. That's it, man.
Yeah, most definitely. Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're electric, man.
All the characters are really good, man. I love Gangbuster, man. Yeah, that was a real cool character, man. But I'm gonna say, man, it was a Holocaust was the one, man.
Yeah. That's Austin Uku, man. That's one of my favorite people in the whole world, man. He stepped up because originally that character, it was him, and then it was we wanted to do Painkiller as well. And Farley Jackson had got injured. That's one of my best friends. He got injured, so he couldn't do that. So we shifted all the Painkiller stuff over to Holocaust. It just so happened that Austin was at the apex of working out. He looked great, and so it was like, all right, there's no way Static is going to be able to beat Holocaust by himself.
Right.
So the gang up made sense.
Yeah.
And with Jay Hunter, because he's all man, you know what I'm saying? It just made sense. So I gave him this boxing type of, because there were a lot of characters in this short that a lot of people knew about, like Lady Shiva, like they knew about her.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But they never did anything about her. So we wanted to be the first to give our interpretation of her.
Yeah.
I mean, there was hardly any reference other than the comic book of Lady Shiva.
Yeah. She was a cold character too, man. She got busy.
Oh yeah. Yeah, because she's noted as being the only person to ever defeat Batman in hand-to-hand combat.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's a little history right there.
You can't beat her.
Yeah.
Like and so a lot of times people say, well, why is she using the sword? Because she was also well versed in a lot of weapons as well.
Yeah.
And that's why you see the empty hand when Regulator's fighting her, he can't beat her, and she just wearing them out. So he pulls the knives, and she's like, "Oh, you want to do that?"
Yeah.
Oh, those moments are very important, man, because as melanated people, like even if you look at Japanese people or Asian people in films, sometimes, man, they don't get the respect that they had back in the 90s. Like you had Jet Li, you had, you know, and you had Michelle Yeoh, and a lot of them physically they can't do that stuff anymore.
Right.
But now it's got to be some esoteric type stuff with everything all at once, everything everywhere all at once. You know, we got to remember one of the first films to be noted was Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
Oh yeah,
that was a good one.
By storm, you know what I mean? Right. And so what Bruce Lee had initiated all those years back, man.
Yeah.
The boundaries and the things that he had set and the barriers that he broke through. Like, you know, to hear people talk about him now, like they disrespect him, it's like, you know, usually it's white dudes that's talking. And maybe he wouldn't be nothing now. It's like you can say that because back in the 70s, you had Chuck Norris, you had all these white guys doing stuff. But we looked to Ron Van Cleef. We looked to Bruce Lee.
Right.
We looked to Kelly. We looked to, you know what I'm saying? Hell, even Richard Roundtree. We looked to cats like that.
Yes.
That symbolizes the masculinity of what is black. We accepted Bruce because, got to remember, Bruce's first student was a black.
Yeah. There was.
And so when we look in the film, to me, it's important that people represent. They got to represent.
Yeah.
Like, because I knew I wanted Black Lightning to get his ass whooped. I was like, he got to get his ass whooped.
Yeah, he took one.
You know, he's that powerful. Like, he's that powerful. And I knew that. And I was like, we got to show that adversity. That's the hero's story. He's got to have something he overcomes.
Right.
So we started out. And originally it started out with him at home and stuff like that. I was like, no. We got to start out with some action.
Yeah.
We got to see how it came to this.
Yeah. That was well played too. That was well played. Because when it got to that scene, I was like, oh, okay. Here's the scene where he was just taking it. I was waiting for this to see what was going on here. And it was well played.
Yeah. You see? So that was one of the things that we wanted to show. His adversity is very important, man. And you know, we were very big on that because we were limited in budget, man. I mean, we had that warehouse that we shot in for 3 days. So we shot all of the warehouse scenes in 3 days. All of it. The scene where he comes, that's right outside the warehouse. So we were in and out. I mean, James put that building back there. The VFX, still to this day, man, I've had professional colorists say, man, this is better than some of the stuff that I've seen in DC and MCU.
Yeah. It's really good. Seriously, man. I mean, they're in the fight scenes. His hands are charged up. They got the weapons. Like, that's the thing that really, really took me by surprise was the caliber of that. You guys did excellent work with that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
A lot of work.
Yeah.
Hard work. 2 years. 2 years of that, man.
Well spent. Well spent.
Well, I just want to ask you a side question. How do you love that flashlight, man, you got?
So let me tell you something about that flashlight. I train with it once a week to stay sharp with it. It stays in my car. It's the thing that's next to me at all times because, you know, you can't, I'm an edged weapons carrier. I carry an edged weapon, but that is there. I can go anywhere with that. And, you know, the people who have seen it, especially when I'm like, we need some light, I go get it black. They're like, what is that? You know, it's very exciting for them. And so I think it's going to do really good, man, once it really gets out there in the market, because it is something that people need to have as a means of, you know, of course, you know, the mace and all that other stuff, but just to have something in your hand where you can work something out, man, you know. So I'm loving it. It's one of my companions. I'm looking at it all day.
Yeah, Kareem, what we're talking about is that GRA flashlight. He has one in his possession. So
see, I wish I had it when I was doing this. You see what I'm saying? Because, you know, then I could have incorporated it in this. I tell you, a short film that I'm currently working on turning into a feature. It's about two two killers dealing with the midlife crisis of one of the killers. They're sitting in the car talking about a midlife crisis that one of them is going through as a killer. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Tired of killing black men. Why we got to kill black men, right?
Yeah,
right.
Right. And he's like, I don't get no spark. There's no spark there. We ain't been killing nobody else. So then why they not killing all the other cultures? It's like in 3 months we've killed 4 black men, 4 cultures, and so I think in that film, because I'll be head choreographer, I'll have a fight coordinator as well, but I'll incorporate that in there. You see,
awesome.
Use it. So that will actually be late this year, man, if I'm able to get it off the ground. So that's what I'm working on right now. 2 Killers in a Car. That's what it's called.
There it is. You hear that? Is that title there? You hear that?
Yeah, I hear that.
Well, I've always told you, Tennis, that it's a matter of time. So it will be incorporated. Trust that. There's gonna be some great fight scenes in there. So
awesome.
Yeah,
maybe gruesome though, because I'm had that guy working it. So
yeah. Well, you look, we've taken an hour. It's been awesome sitting here talking to you. One thing that me and Tennis do all the time is the versus battles, man. So now that I got you right here, okay, if I can say, okay, if we got Black Lightning over here and we got the Black Panther over there, who's coming out of this fight, man?
Black Lightning, brother.
You hear that? Black Lightning. You hear that?
I heard it, man. I heard it.
And you heard that, right?
I love Black Panther, but no.
He ain't ready for it, huh?
Yeah, man.
Right on. Well, look, hopefully we'll be able to catch you again. You got a lot of projects. We're definitely gonna be telling everybody. We know, check them out, support it. I love what your agenda is and how you pushing characters. Tennis and you were able to connect. Tennis, please come and say what you got to say.
Well, man, I mean, just him coming on the show, and just sharing with us, it's been awesome. I really appreciate that, man.
You guys having me, man. It's always an honor to sit and talk with people, man, and to discuss, the history of this. Because I'm telling you, if you get a chance, go watch the commentary, man. You'll learn so much from it. And once again, shout out to all the cast and crew members who had a part of this: James M. Black, Joan Moulton, Austin Uku, Jay Hunter, Dimitri Morantes, Jonesy Agende, Sachiko. I can't wait for the world to start seeing what she's capable of doing, man.
Yeah.
That girl, man, she's going, once they open up a little bit more, because, the Asians are finally starting to work a little bit more, it's going to be so phenomenal to see what she can do. And I'll always give her a spot, just like with James, got a spot. James, shout out to James and Black. He's got a character called American Ronin that he hopefully will do I always tell him, man, do a GoFundMe, man, do a crowdfund, man. You guys should have him on the show so you can talk about that character.
Most definitely.
But I think that's where the future is for us as people of color, black men, black women. If you have your own IP, like Tennis, I know you're doing a lot of that, man. That's the future for us, man. I would never do another, like people who have been asking, hey, man, do another fan. Nah, I'm good. Yeah. I did it. Unless someone came and said, here's a budget of $100,000, make what you want to make, and it's got to be this character. That's something different.
Yeah.
But you own your own IP, create your own characters, let them know that we are talented and we are creative, man. And
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. We're gonna let you go now. I did want to say to the audience before we let you go, it was better than the CW version of it. So I'm telling you, go and check it out. Because when I saw the CW version of it, I was like, man, this wasn't even no good. When Tennis told me, he's like, I'm like, what? I want to talk to that guy. This is the guy I wanted to talk to, though. All your actors were great. You guys did an awesome job. From just a person watching it, I was entertained and into it all the way through the story, all the way to the end. So thank you guys for that. We definitely appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys. Thank you for having me on the show.
All right, we'll talk to you.